slides here and some of the information. In fact, if you wait until the end, which I urge you to, of course I would like to have you stick through the whole webinar and the presentation today, but at the end I'm going to give you a special access pass to get all the tools and the information that I presented here today, including some additional cheat sheets and guides that hopefully will help you, some videos, and really this is meant to help you. That's the summary of it all, right? This is not a pitch fest, although in full disclosure at the end you have an option to join something, and I'll share with you what that is when we get there. But really this is about you here today. And yeah, I'll talk about myself a little bit, so for those of you who are not familiar with me, I can get your permission to do that. But I really want to make you think about what you're doing currently in your SEO world, in your SEO strategies, and specifically for traffic. But as we know, the discussions when traffic is brought to the table changes quickly to, great, I got some traffic now, but I'm not converting. And in fact, if we think about all of this stuff we're doing online, especially in the business context, really anything, we want this next thing to happen, whatever that next thing is. And in business, we talk about those as conversions. So we'll be covering this today, traffic, certainly at the core content, and we'll be covering a little bit on the conversion side, but not too much. In fact, at the end, I'll also share with you an upcoming webinar happening next week that you might want to join as well. So let me see here. More people are coming in. God, we got, gosh, let's see here. Oh, we have 60% in already. So that is good. And, you know, I've been on many webinars, as I'm sure you have too. I just really, again, appreciate you taking time out of your day and listening to my voice today, and also me just making this long-winded, drawn-out introduction. But you probably know this too. This is partly also because people are coming in late. And since this is not recorded, I want to make sure everybody gets the benefits. Anyway, summary is out the door. You can hear me. I see the twos are coming in here, and we are off and running to the first slide. So we're going to cover SEO in 2015 and specifically traffic strategies. So just a little bit here. And by the way, let me see. I might be able to share this later, but just about 10 minutes ago, a new post appeared on Huffington Post about how to rank in Google. And I'll be referencing some of the strategies that I used there for that. And obviously Huffington Post is a highly qualitative, authoritative, trusted domain, and it's a big to-do. But in fact, all of these things can be mirrored down to or over to your world. So I'll share that with you. A little bit about me here from Huffington Post, and also from Entrepreneur, where I've written several articles. There's a new one coming out there as well pretty soon, including 3 books with Entrepreneur Press, which talks all about SEO and traffic building and really building your success story online, right? This is from a individual perspective, because we have coaches on here, we have consultants, we have business owners, we have CEOs and individuals. It all maps down to business success. So just a little bit about me there, as you can see, and there's my brand new book. Again, this is not a pitch fest, but since we're on the book, go ahead and get it. Get it on Kindle or get it physically in the bookstores. It's the ultimate guide to optimizing your website. Tons of info in there that I'll share some of that today. But today is really very strategic as well, and very current, and for 2015. As I said, we're going to be talking here for about an hour. The presentation is about 40 minutes, and I'm going to be taking questions. It may bleed over, as you can probably tell already. I love this stuff, love to talk with you and to you and help you. So we'll be taking questions too. And by the way, you can ask those questions during the presentation. If it's something that's related, I happen to see it pop out, I'll address it right then. But most of the time we like to kind of wrap it up towards the end. But don't hold back. This is about you. So if you can type in a 3 on your keyboard, give me a 3 if you are ready to rock. If you are ready to rock, give me a 3. All right, coming back at you. Hey, Jen. Hey, Kathy. Nils. Brandon. Thomas. Is that you? Yes. 3. Rock and roll. Spelling out. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the before and after here today. So this is just a sort of tongue-in-cheek here. But we want to look good. We want to be that entity on the right. In this case, it's Mr. Tom. But really there's the current state of affairs, and then there's the future state of affairs, and we want you to look good in the after state, right? So we're going to do that today. And as you know, deal a lot, and most of my time is spent in the SEO world here. But it is super cool in a process, as I put here. And I just wanted to give you some context at the top, because when you ask people, what is SEO, and people as in business owners, and again, at different levels here, do you understand SEO? Well, yes, I do. You need keywords, and you need content and links, and that's maybe as far as the conversation goes. Well, there needs to be a process. There needs to be a step-by-step approach to this, and it's a sort of an iteration model. And here, I'm not going to read all of this, but I bolded the first few items on this list: research, structure, on-page, off-page, analyze, and improve. You can read through this, but essentially, yes, we are talking about keywords, but we're also talking about the competition. And we're talking about analytics, right? Getting a good understanding, a solid understanding for that. It's going to be your mainstay. That's really where you need to kick off, right? And again, there might be a question of, hey, I'm brand new. Well, perfect. You need to start there. Hey, I've been doing this for a while. I've been running my business for years now. Where do I start? Right at the top there. Research, keywords, analytics. In fact, some of you may have an understanding of this already and are trying to do a sort of reset of your program. Well, you can go straight into your web analytics and start diving into data to get some of that understanding, and then feed it back to the keyword research. But I'm going to take you through this, show you some tools and some steps and some really interesting aspects to it. So don't worry there. And we want to make sure that those keywords, of course, are pushed into pages. All the on-page stuff, which is really dealing with, not only the positioning and the elements of the pages, but also the technical aspects, sort of HTML/SEO compliancy, I guess I should say, and certainly off-page link building. Lots to talk about link building, and how much, where, how, the quality indicators, all that. Clearly, a very strong indicator to the algorithm for rankings still, and for the very foreseeable future. And again, talked about that analyzation, the analyzing of the data, the rank tracking, traffic monitoring, all that, and of course, iteration. So around and around we go. That is the SEO in the process for you in a snapshot. And today, as you heard from the top, we're going to talk about keywords. We're going to talk about relationships and really topical thinking, and how you can find and use these and how you can leverage them. Very powerful stuff. Do not dismiss this as, yeah, I've heard it before, I've seen it before. That's fine, actually. We probably all do that at first, right, at some level. But do you understand it fully? That's my intention, to really help you there today. And even if you're not as technical, you'll be able to understand this. And you don't have to be technical, by the way. So number 2 is the content structure. And I put attentive traffic. And it really is the right visitor, because, if somebody on this presentation needs to know how to drive 100,000 visitors for 100,000 visitors for $100 in the next week, I can show you how to do that. Very easy. $100, 100,000 visitors. Is that useful to your business? It's very broad-based, right? We want to get very specific so we can get the right visitor and the long-term winning solution. Those are the 3 items for today. And you'll know about some of these. You will have seen some of these before. But it's important for you to understand that the takeaways here are going to be in these 3 areas. And it ultimately boils down to more traffic. Those visitors will be targeted, as I said, and you will convert more, although there is this notion of CRO, which is an acronym for conversion rate optimization. That is a session by itself, because you may have a bunch of traffic already and have issues with conversion. We can cover that on another future webinar. And just in case, wanted to share this with you as well. You've heard these, right? White hat SEO, gray hat SEO, black hat SEO. In fact, give me a 1 here if you've heard these terms before in the SEO realm. This just gives me a little feel of how you all, brothers and sisters, are doing out there in SEO land. Have you heard it before? Yeah, you know of it? Okay. Yeah, here we go. Brandon, Michael. Michael, no audio. Interesting. Everybody's hearing me fine. What I suggest maybe then trying to do is reset the webinar, meaning exit and come back in, and make sure that you have your speakers turned up, obviously. Not trying to be facetious here, but sometimes some of these obvious things happen to us. Hey, thanks, Thomas, man. That's good. But let me just also set this in your mind that anything you do SEO is actually black hat, because SEO is really trying to manipulate your assets. And that could be a video, that could be a web page, that could be news items, images, etc. Any of those to show up high in Google. And if you look at Google Webmaster Guidelines, you're not supposed to manipulate that kind of stuff. Now, we're not going to get off on this sandbox, but I sort of look at this as, even though Google says don't do the spammy stuff in the black hat area, don't do this sort of semi-shady in the gray, just be nice and upfront and work with us and we'll help you out kind of thing. Well, they really want to help you out to get to AdWords, right? It's all about the major revenues and the profit building from ads. But, of course, relevancy and search is important, because if nobody finds it, they're not going to click on ads. But I just want you to understand we're going to cover the green today, white hat. But we're doing some very cool stuff in the gray and the black, and it works like crazy, but it tends to have a more short-lived kind of aspect to it, as I'm sure you all know. And thanks for putting in the bunch of ones here. I appreciate it. That means you're all pros here, most of you here anyway. And by the way, not discounting the other ones who didn't respond or didn't know about it. So this is just a quick, sorry, I forget to give a shout out to the whoever made this graphic, but this is a much like the sort of the stack of human, I forget what it's called, it's the human architecture. There's really the stack of needs, wants, and what we actually want to do in the world of SEO. Try to get off on a tangent, obviously didn't work. But we are looking at a foundation. Much like a house, you need to place that house on a solid foundation. That means that you have good hosting. A lot of times I see, hey, I want a really nice website, I have great content, and you place it on a shaky foundation and cheap hosting, and that server infrastructure is up and down. Not helpful, right? Just do this right. And user experience at the bottom, keyword themes and content, we're going to cover that area today. That's all about the sort of content, keywords, and traffic driving aspects, although the online PR kind of moving up the stack there, and relationship building, very important, the outward promotions and all that, certainly central to this business. And of course, the media darling of the news is social media. News media darling, how's that? So it kind of gives you a perspective, though, as you see the picture on where you could be placing some work right now. In fact, you may go back to your tech folks, or if you're the tech person, consider looking at your hosting environment, basically that entire technical foundation. So again, future webinars here coming up on these areas, and as you can see, SEO is quite the 360 view into your marketing and business world. But thought this was helpful to get a starting point for you. So let's dig in even further now as we go down the rabbit's hole. This on the left is Google Suggest, and you've seen it. It's as you type in Google. By the way, you can turn these things off, but the default is that this will actually show. So here we go, how to make chocolate, and I just stopped right there. You can see all the suggestions that Google is providing for you, and ideas really for this whole step of the first portion of the agenda, which is keyword research, how, and what's the best way, right? Well, we could have a webinar just on keyword research and really go deep on this, but I wanted to capture this in a 1, 2, 3 punch, so you'll get enough here to get you started, but it's not going to be all of it, right? That makes sense, I hope. But that is a great way to dive into what we call the long tail structures of keywords. Like, somebody might say, we're a chocolate business, I want to rank for chocolate chip cookies, and I might tell you, good luck with that. How much is your budget, and when do you want that by? It's not a strategically smart move. You want to make sure that you cover the middle tier of keyword structures and really into the long tail. And here's an example of that, how to make chocolate-covered strawberries, right? Brilliant piece opportunity for content right there. We're going to get back to how you structure this later, though, so don't worry. Over on the right, Google Keyword Planner. If you are not familiar with it, now part of AdWords, you get to it there via a login account. You can go to Google, of course, and just type in Google Keyword Planner. You get to it. Here I typed in how to make chocolate chip cookies. And on the left there, we see group ideas. I'm going to get back to that as well. This is basically Google saying, here's how I would segment by groups, themes, topics. We'll get to that later. The idea of supporting a how to make a chocolate chip cookies theme, right? So great way to take a look at not only the searches, the keywords, but the grouping. Again, we're going to get back to this. I put a dollar, exclamation point down here that while this is cool, definitely needed, wanted, you want to make sure that you understand that there is some volume there, that you have monthly searches that actually are returned, and we do see some of those over here, so that's good. And also that the competition, which is listed in here, is not for organic. This is SEO, PPC rather specific. So when it says low, you might be thinking, gosh, I'm going to jump right on that. 212,800 searches, and it's low. And it's $1.80. This is all good. I'm just going to bang out a bunch of SEO pages for this. Not the case. Not so quick, right? So we want to make sure that you have a capture of this as you go through it. The monthly searches, competition, and the user psychology, often referred to as user intent. So as we dive into this a little further, we really need to mine that long tail tier, right? That's how really, as you'll see in my summary here in the next few slides, that is kind of the secret, right? It's the one that we, meaning you and me on this call, can go and leverage right now. You can do it this weekend and start to see traffic moving within days if you have a site already established. And this is ubersuggest.org. Fantastic free tool to get this broken out, ubersuggest.org. Again, I'm going to provide a list at the end of all the necessary tools, and there's a plugin here that gives some of the click cost and the volumes and things like that, which is also helpful. And over on the right, we got semrush.com. This is the keyword difficulty checker tool as part of that. There's other tools. In fact, if you search for a keyword difficulty checker, you'll see Moz and other places where you can check to see really what is the difficulty in terms of a percent, often ranging from 5% to 100% or whatever the nomenclature is there. The idea is that now, even though we saw in Google AdWords, the keyword planner, that the competition was low, look at this. Not so much, very high, right? And while the volume numbers here are a little different, that's okay. Like here it reports 18,000, here it's 14,800. We're not too concerned about that. We're concerned about it in level of having a account. Yes, we want it to be sizable. And again, sizable is relative. Just a kind of a quick side note there. If you have a local business and you're doing some research and you're finding that maybe you have 100 searches, 200 searches per month, do not discount that. That could be a very attentive, valuable customer or prospect in that case who's looking for you, but you are sort of bypassing it because you simply think that, well, I just need to have high volume counts because I have found a keyword set that has low on the difficulty scale and it has a high volume, and go for that. Well, you might be surprised, right? Again, at the end, I'm going to provide some worksheets here that you can get and kind of assess this. But this is extremely important, and to understand, again, that volume, that intent of the person, and then that you have that difficulty measurement into your thinking is going to be absolutely critical as you start to embed keywords into your content or create new content pages. And really now, as we drill down a little further again, I keep saying that, but this is the same slide that we saw before, but now we switched over to the actual keyword ideas, where instead of being listed by group, we're showing it here by actually, it's the list, right? So I think there was some 800 keywords or something on this list, but now you can start to see, okay, how to make chocolate chip cookies. It was the strawberry reference, homemade chocolate chip cookies. How do you make chocolate chip cookies? Well, I guess that's a misspelling. No, actually it's just spaced out. Looked weird for a second. Anyway, this is just obviously a partial list here, but all of a sudden you went from like what type of keywords and what type of content should I rank for to actually be listed in a or providing a list of keywords that you can actually do yourself, right? Very, very, very cool. Give me a 1 if this all makes sense so far. I just want to make sure I capture this correctly. Again, we're going to cover questions, but shoot off a 1 here. And man, I love you all. You're just coming right in there. 1, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, this is what I like to see. Hey, John, how you doing? Beautiful. Well, that means you either know this stuff or I've done a really good job. Maybe it's a combination. So here we go with relationships. We kind of covered the keyword basics, and I'm going to tie this all together so you understand these 3 pieces from the agenda. But if you think about anything Google and anything web, right, it's all about these relationships, and that's true online and offline. But domains have relationships. I just did this on touchgraph.com. It's a quick Java app that, you know, I scanned for chocolate chip cookies and how to make chocolate chip cookies. You can see the coloring here. Well, those are authority domains that you should be looking to as possible models, but also certainly if you are writing about the chocolate chip industry or about your business, link out to these guys, right? Great opportunity to become an authority. You hear about this a lot. How in the heck do I become an authority and leader in my space? Well, part of that is obviously providing the quality content, all of that, the keywords as I mentioned, but linking out, not being afraid to share in social, yes, but also linking out. You see this. I mean, Wikipedia is just an amazing, powerful authority engine, a domain that sits out there, and if you lick through it, it links out everywhere, right? But that's not the only way you do it, but it gives you an idea. So relationships, and that is also true at the keyword level. This is from Green Lane SEO. They have some great write-ups about this. But it's the idea of these topic selections. Again, I'm going to show you a slide here in a second on how you do this, but you have the concepts at the top. You drive into that middle to long tail keyword research and really ask this question, right? This is such a great question, and I didn't come up with it. It just makes sense, right? What is the purpose of this page? And this page meaning this new page that I'm developing. You know, what is the purpose? Yeah, I want to rank. Sure, fine, great. Yeah, I want traffic. Sure, fine, great. But what is the ultimate goal with that? And KPIs is just a fancy word for metrics, right? Key performance indicators. So you know exactly what that purpose is for, right? This is beautiful. Simplicity around this particular slide, boy. Many don't get this. I mean, maybe in concept at the top level, but to actually drive through on this. And one way you could do this right now, you might want to write this down, is, well, let me go to my analytics and find out my top 10 pages right now, and let me find out what kind of traffic it's driving right now, and let me see what kind of, you know, what is truly the purpose of these pages. Are they serving the original goal that it had? Well, time to take an action note on that, right? By the way, when we talk about relationships, I started with the domain level. I'm drilling down now. We also talk about, you know, relationships between keywords and prominence, which is, you know, positioning of the keywords and links, etc. Higher up on the page is better than lower, etc. We talked about proximity and the relevancy, synonyms, variants, all of this stuff. It gets a little fancy, right? Maybe. But in truth, you just don't want to overdo this. Here's some bad examples. Totally overdone. You know, trying to spam, essentially, trying to use the keywords as the key domination factor for trying to make this happen. Not a cool way, not a long-term strategy. You might actually try and say this stuff works like crazy, only to find it getting de-indexed or just basically doesn't get de-indexed. Typically what happens is it might go from your first page, all of a sudden you drop down to page 50, right? You know, anything beyond 2 is basically invisibility, right? So we are moving right along here. Let's see how we're doing. I just wanted to stop and relax for a moment. We're about 25 minutes in, so we're good. I think I'm getting some great feedback here from you all. Hey, Jen, thanks for that. Just saw one thing pop up here. GreenLaneSEO.com is not available. Well, you know what? That's an action item for me. I'm going to write it down here, and we're gonna fix that. In fact, I'm gonna send you the actual link for that. So. Great. Again, how are we doing here so far? Give me a 3 if this is all making sense to you. I like to interact with you. It's kind of hard. You're in a webcast and you're sort of talking one way. It's supposed to be collaborative, but it's a little bit. you're responding. Yeah, there you go. 3, 3, 3. Oh, thank you, man. That's so great. We're not recording this, so I urge you to stay to the end. We're going to basically provide a link, an access point for you to get the slides. I'm going to send those over to you, but there is no recording. I'm actually recording it here, but that's only for the Premier members that I have in my mastermind. So this is not publicly available. No, sorry about that. Yeah, the Greenland SEO is available. Okay, good. So we are relaxing and enjoying this. Here is the keyword relationships kind of discussion on how to do it right. An example of home remodeling. On the left, this was something that was provided initially by the owner. And then on the right, we see a keyword researched and more generally sort of appealing SEO optimized text. I always find it very instructive to see these, but I also find it interesting because many folks will actually dive in and just analyze this to the hilt, right? This is where, for the technical folks on the call, it gets exciting because, hey, should I use plural? Should I use a single here? Should I maybe shift this word to move it forwards a little bit? I heard you say earlier in the copy is better. Is this really, is this the best I can do? Well, there's always a better way, but it really, in SEO and so much online, is based on testing, right? Because you'll read Google, you'll read blogs, you'll hear me talking, and, well, he said, she said, and I did that, and I saw this, and another guy I know or gal did this and was working great. I did it and it worked great. And then, you know, they had a problem, but I didn't. And so anyway, you have to be in this business a bit to kind of get a feel for it. Yes, there's the technical aspect. Yes, there's sort of the sciencey, geeky sort of side of the house. But really, the way that we look at this is get the keywords in there, get the structures right. And I'm going to show you more of this. We're not done yet, guys and girls. But overanalyzing here at this point serves no purpose. The sort of servant here to your goal, unless you're doing some sort of black hat grade affiliate marketing or something, is to think about who's my audience, what do they need, what are they asking questions about, and what problems am I solving. Now let me get to work and answer that. Then I'll start to go in and kind of sprinkle naturally through keywords. I'll optimize, I'll do my thing, right? So just to give you a refresher on that. Now, here it gets a little geeky. You may have heard of SEO silos. You hear about theming and topics and grouping. And the bottom line is you just have a structure. And the structure is based on kind of this hierarchy, right? So you have at the top would be chocolate chip cookies is kind of like the main topic, right? That's kind of the master area. And then each silo there, which is really could be just a group, is, you know, it's how to make chocolate chip cookies, how to do the, what is the oatmeal, and, you know, sorry, the first silo would be like the little more down on the chocolate chip cookie side. It would be the oatmeal side. It would be strawberry, whatever else is going on in the cookie world. And then you break it down by article 1, 2, 3, right? And you link them all together. It's really, when you see it, it just makes a world of sense. Most of the time, folks don't think about this and organizing it this way. But if you remember the keyword tool from Google, it tries to group these things for you. It gives you great insight to how you can start to kind of map this out for yourself. And this doesn't, again, have to be a science lesson, right? This is really all about how do I serve my users in a natural way and make sure that the copy that I put into these article keywords, these down at the bottom here, you know, 1, 2, 3, etc., that they actually try to answer the question that they're asking for, right? And the idea is that you're going to naturally rank for some keywords at the top level because page rank or juice or authority domain, well, page rank is really not you know, being updated anymore, but we talk about sort of domain authority, and then as you drill down, you talk about page authority. So are these authoritative, and is the domain authoritative? The more it is, well, the better, and you're going to acquire this over time, right? But you want to make sure that in these areas, 1, 2, 3, silo 2, 1, 2, 3, that these are the areas where you place your keywords and your long tailors into, right? And you'll be ranking for all kinds of stuff in this realm as you look down the tiered structure. So again, we could, I'm sure there's a lot of questions on this. and it tends to get a little geeky at times and looking at not only the keyword groupings, but what keywords I should use exactly. And I'm going to show you more on that in some follow-up videos. I'll talk a little bit more about it today. But once you understand it, you know what you're working up against, right? Yeah, in fact, this is right. The groups, the silos. This was easy chocolate, homemade cookies, cookie ingredients. So the first silo there could be easy chocolate, you know, although I would probably look at that a little further to see what that really means. Silo 2 could be homemade cookies. Silo 3 would be cookie ingredients, right? And you can see how easily now you can start to map out keywords like the Silo 3 is cookie ingredients. It's ingredients, how to make, you know, all of this stuff could be just easily embedded. Although you might actually find that it's not enough searches for you, or it's too high a competition, etc., through the keyword difficulty finders and lookups. There's a little bit of work going on here, right? You can't just haphazardly grab it from here and throw it in here without doing the research. Remember, we talked about the volume as one indicator, certainly the psychology, like what does the user actually want, and then is it truly competitive, right? Is it hard to rank for? Because if you're doing all this right and you've gone for the hardest keywords to rank, we'll be having this conversation in 8, 12, 14, 24 months, and I'm still not quite ranking, right? So we don't want that. We want you to get going quickly. So here is the summary. You want to make sure that your research include the main keywords into your pages, that you create a relationship between those, and that you link those pages together in a natural, logical way. And consider those long-tail keywords as the winning secret for traffic and dollars ultimately, because you're going to have the highest converting folks in that realm. And I haven't included all of this in the session, obviously, for basic reasons of it gets kind of technical, but you know, make sure that you have the basic assumptions in place, right? I mentioned the fast hosting, you know, the meta tagging, H1s, all of that standard stuff, the alt attributes, the alt tags, as it said. So you want to make sure that this all happens for you. Can you give me a 4 if this makes sense to you? Just punch in a 4 here real quickly so I can see that you're with me. I appreciate it so much. Again, we're just zipping right through tons of great information. And hey, 4's coming in. Man, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, this is, yeah, there's a couple here, or yeah, I'm not going to call you out. I love you, but yes, it is not intended to be just a 1, 2, 3, and you slam this in and you're off and running. Need a little more help, obviously, to get some of this done, but that's okay. We can do it. And this is from our friends at Moz. So here's the idea. And I'm going to show you a live example of this on something that I did recently. But the content structure, right? Right at the top, we have the primary keyword phrases. We have a URL that includes the keywords. Again, natural flow here. We don't want to just overanalyze this and sort of get into this spammy notion. But I talked a little bit about this, the proximity, the prominence, all of that. We want to make sure we get those in. The location, the frequency, the distance between words, all of this stuff matters, right? And here's where the geeks on the call can totally get off on, yeah, I can easily tweak this and move it. And in fact, these are some of those things that will move the needle for some. If you're hovering in position 11 and you've brought in some traffic, you're driving some links, you know, you can move the needle on this. But are you going to move? Well, again, here we get into this sort of relative word, right, which I hate and love in SEO, because there is no finite thing, and Google changes every day. You could tweak this and work very favorably for you, absolutely. But should you spend most of the time here, we have to look at your case, right? But make sure that you do this, right? Think about where you're positioning the keywords. You're helping essentially a software engine, the bots, right? While there are humans on the other side, you're helping the bots. Google search serves 6 billion searches. You know, this is an insane thing to try and manage in a human way. So the bots and the software engines take care of you. Here's one that we did, actually I did, on Huffington Post. And interestingly enough, just 5 minutes before this webinar, a new post came up on how to rank in Google in 2015. So I urge you to go to Huffington Post, and you can actually just search my name in Google, and few links down the page, you'll see Huffington Post. Click there, and you'll see the new article as of, well, now 35 minutes ago. But here's an example on what 7 things everybody needs. That's kind of the main topic, right? It's search optimization, search engine, kind of into a headline, right? Master headline, kind of the master topic. Here's a snippet from that page, broken into sort of subheads. I put header here, and it's related to the master topic. There's a quote here. There's obviously body text, and then related resources. Notice how these are links out to other sources, right? This is where we create relationships to that domain level that you saw earlier. Very cool, right? It makes sense. This is how you build authority. And I'm not talking about having a Huffington Post publishing system behind you. I'm talking about having a business behind you that you can easily, and again, easily as in the process, it's not overnight, but escalate and improve your site for that authority, that trust, and that traffic. Again, simple example, but this works like crazy. And also where you see related resources here, further reading, this is part of a number of text articles or text body areas, sub-body areas, including these as you go down the content, not just placing it at the bottom is very helpful for the reader, right, the user, the visitor, but also for Google to understand that, hey, these are lifted earlier in the copy. They must be important, right? So this is the long-term winner. That is you, essentially. Building that authority, huge, and the rules for success, as I put here, is that when you create content with your keywords and with the long tailers, the headers, kind of the breakdown that I showed you, think about, basically, let me tell you this. Many business owners that I speak to and we deal with say, I can't write copy. And then I say, is that because you don't know your topic? No, absolutely. I know my topic. I'm a professional, Jan. Come on. Well, I can't write. Yes, I can write, but I don't know what to write. I don't know what to put there. And should I write 200 words, 5,000? I don't have time for this, whatever. Well, if you have a weekly tip and you want to put that into a short blog post, you can do that. And you can use curation options. RSS is not dead by any means. That's sort of the syndication system that happens in many of the CMS systems and behind the scenes. WordPress, of course, is a big is part of that, and we use WordPress all the time, and we develop in WordPress as well. But things like Feedly and Scoop It, etc., you may actually sign up and get notifications each day, and at the end of the week, you just sort of do a week pull. Here's what happened in the financial industry this week. And you put a quick, 4 or 5 line kind of introduction and some of your own thoughts, and then you have links and some references to these things, and it takes you 15 minutes, right? Very valuable. Can share this on your email list to clients. This has value from a keyword perspective and from a Google perspective. You're building your authority. Totally fine. Then you could hire somebody to create longer, in-depth stories, right? This is where you could even record this and just send the MP3 to the writer who takes it and makes it properly English and whatnot. And then this is some call this an evergreen, right? This is, an ongoing long-term initiative that really builds into possibly the Google answer box. We talk about Hummingbird a lot in this area for total authority. You may have seen it where you type in a query and the results show right at the top. Google provides it, but it's pulled it from a page. Wouldn't you love to have your page be the one that Google pulls it from? You're going to get a lot of traffic and movement from that, right? And then 3, you need to create internal links or create links. And that is internally throughout your site. Talked about that in that silo structure. Make it easy, right? But also get links outside and back into those pages and get the attention and value. And you want this earlier in the copy rather than later, right? Often you'll see it at the very, very bottom. Yes, still valuable. This is not don't do that anymore. This is a recommendation that I'm providing for you. And consistency and not ever quitting. I mean, I see so many kind of starting and it sort of worked, didn't work. I tried some advertising, that didn't work. It sort of gets very negative and, you get down on yourself and again, sort of talking about you as the marketer and business owner both, the executive, how in the heck am I going to ever get on top of this? Well, consistency and not quitting is how you get on top of it, right? Just keep to a schedule and something that you know you can do and commit to. And do the short posts. Maybe you have, once a month you have the 2,000 plus words thing, right? 3,000 words. I saw a site in the legal industry that had, I think it was 5,000 plus words in the services area. They're ranking for all kinds of stuff, highly authoritative. And it was not about them, right? It was, sure, the services were listed, but it was also a highly authoritative piece. You want to break those pages because people ask all the time, when should I break it? Should I have long pieces, short pieces? You want to make it distinct. It's sort of like my friend Bruce Clay talks about, black marbles and white marbles. When it starts getting gray and, I'm not sure what should we break. Yeah, we should break this out, right? You want clarity and value for each page. Just thinking value, goals, metrics, you're going to be way ahead of the game. And as I said, link out to resources and helpful sites to drive even more authority. And you want to make sure that you make this shareable. And you know about the social widgets, right? It's making sure that you apply all of those on the site and have people share it. And they will share it when you provide quality. So that's all good. That's all good. And I put this in here actually late last night because we talked so much about SEO, and SEO is changing. Maybe it really never had, right? Maybe in the early days it was sort of more finite. Yeah, it probably was, right? But you want to have a marketing plan. Just coming in and talking to me or us or even on this webinar saying, hey, man, I'm learning all about SEO. I'm just going to apply that. No, it's all of it, right? So having a marketing strategy, a digital plan, certainly important, and getting out and shaking some hands, personal networking, reaching out, calling up, emailing, and inviting to webinars like this one, creating custom ad programs, pay-per-click, of course, Facebook, LinkedIn, and AdWords, of course, right smack in Google, speaking engagements, all of this. Again, didn't try to overwhelm you with this, but just a reminder, a refresher that, you should have more than just one thing going, right? And as we're coming to a close here, before I start taking any questions, if they come in, I want to invite you to get the cheat sheet. This is also some case studies of some things we're working on, and CLKZY, clickz.com/SEO cheat sheet. Some of you are on that list, but some of you are not. Actually, most of you are not. So there you can get the keyword tools, all of the tools. There's some fantastic tools out now that you may not know about that takes this research and makes it just very straightforward. It is very easy to do. And then as you start to map this into pages and to the architecture, you'll have a lot of data to work with. Really phenomenal, actually. Of course, questions, send it over to support@chaosmat.com. I actually get those, so you'll be able to ask any questions there. But make sure you go to that. In fact, what I'll do here, actually I'll send a follow-up and make sure you get that link there. CLKZY.com/SEO cheat sheet. So we want to make sure you get that. Okay, so we have another webinar coming up that is scheduled for next week, I believe. And if you remember, we talked about a lot of on-page and keywords and research and content. We talked about the authority building, all of this. But how do you build links? Get a lot of questions about this. And without this sort of, I got to beg for it because links are so extremely valuable. And how do you do it in a friendly way, in a, let me just say white hat, although here we go, talking about basically, in quotes, manipulation in a white hat way. I mean, is that even a sentence, right? You're manipulating white hat? No, it's all black hat, really. But Google doesn't like that in a negative way, especially not in the paid way, and especially not when you try and go out and just comment spam and things like that. But I'm not talking about that for this webinar. This will really be all about how you can attract visitors. And yes, there will be some outreach in this discussion, but really this is going to take all of this work that you've learned today into the next level. And happy to speak with you, of course, on Twitter. At Jan Ragnerud there, and yeah, feel free to share on Twitter too if you thought this was cool today, and anything you want to do, I love it. That's the corporate website, and also, as I said, provided a worksheet for you. And I have a couple of options. Again, not a pitch fest, but I want to make sure that you know about it. The first 5 here today, you'll get a free consulting call with me. And it's really just 20 minutes, but we will cover a lot, believe you me, because I'll capture a few things from an input form. And it's normally $97 to pay for those. Today, I'm actually just requiring the $97 as a good faith deposit because, yeah, you probably could guess it, right? Many folks just want to get on and get some information, not do anything. I know that you're all action takers because you're still here today, and I want to do it for you. So basically what that first session there, what does that for you, is that we get to speak specifically about your problems with your business, with your on-site, and the deposit is immediately returned. So you basically put the good faith deposit down. I know that you're serious and excited, and I will be too because I'm talking to you. And then I just return that. And then, by the way, that's not a, hey, if you want to buy something, I'll just not return that. You know, that's not part of the discussion. This is just, you know, keeping the time vampires at bay, as the expression goes. Number 2 there is much more sort of all-inclusive, the done-for-you services. And this is somebody who's saying, listen, I can do some of this, but frankly, I need help. And I need you all to kind of jump on with me and help me out. And we'll set the goals, we'll map out the process, and see if we can actually help you. And if you'd like to do that, you can send an email also to support@chaosmap.com there. Just put webinar SEO in 2015, and you'll be receiving a link to a quick form that you'll fill out. It's kind of like we call it a discovery, right? And we'll find out a little bit about you. It's kind of like you going to the doctor with a bum knee. I'm not going to start operating on that knee until I ask you some questions. Same thing here. So if you want to do that, and this is open for all. There's no sort of time limit or weird shenanigans with this. None of it. None of this is. But this final one here is actually more extensive, and we have a process that we go through, and it starts with this. So that's very exciting. But for the first 5, if you want to jump on, just shoot an email to the support@chaosmap. And also put the webinar SEO in 2015, just put Skype at the end, and then I'll know what that's all about. And then we can help you out. And finally, there was actually 2 questions that came in around this Premier Elite Mastermind and get the recordings and get the insight. That is available as well. So I didn't put that option on here, but that's typically a higher priced program. It's also something that, you know, and since it's working with me more specifically, really screen for that to make sure we're a good fit. And that's not trying to be a butthead here or anything. It's just it takes a bunch of time, but it's really quite exclusive. So, all right. Well, you know, enough of that stuff. Let's kind of see if I can get some questions over here. And I love this good old go-to webinar, man. I've tried so many of these services. It seems like they're always winning out. All right, so let's see here. Miss Jen says, how many keywords should we find per client? Not sure I understand. Well, I guess so. What I'm thinking you're asking there, Jen, is how many keywords per site or page? Oh, yes, there you go. Per website. There you go. The answer to that is how long is a piece of string? Smiley face, right? I'm not trying to be weird here, Jen, but it's really based on the research. It's really based on the goals of that client. You know, if you're ranking a client for how to lose weight for men, how to lose weight for women, or weight loss in general, that's 1 or 2 keywords. You need nothing else. You're a winner, right? But I know you're probably thinking about the long tailors, kind of some of that discussion that we had here today. As I'm selecting these, how do I know how many? Well, it still gets back to the goals of the pages and the client themselves. You know, what are they actually looking for? Often we find that clients come in, and since they don't know this SEO stuff, hey, I just want to be ranked for this keyword, or better yet, they will say, you know, my competition, I hate them, and they're ranking for this keyword, and we're not, so how can we get there? When those questions come in, we typically change the conversation rather quickly after sort of acknowledging that to what is your goal? what is the goal of that keyword? And the answer could be, well, I just don't like them being ranked for it, and we're not. Well, I'll often go straight to the core of it. What is your business now on an annual basis, and where do you want it to go, right? It's such a huge question. It went from, what keywords to where's your business? Well, we're a $1 million revenue business now, or 5 million or 10 million. We want to move it to that plus X in a period. Well, that's obviously requiring a much bigger discussion. It's not just about keywords, but it certainly is about goals, and then breaking those down. And as we go through the digital marketing plan, and as we go through the various channels that you're building out, what does it mean in our SEO context? Well, from the research, we found that there's about 200 keywords. Again, just picking a random number. Out of those 200 keywords, we found that there's, 5 distinct buckets, like themes. Oh, buckets was another word, right? Themes, topics, silos, groupings. So there's 5 main buckets, and within those we have, what is that, 50 or 40, right? So it'd be 5 times 4 is 200 keywords. Okay, out of those 40, what is most important to our goals? What keywords then in sort of that mid to long tail tier is it that is less competitive, has keyword volume, and that really serves our audience in terms of that intent? Well, then all of a sudden you are really starting to narrow it down to what keywords should be assigned to what pages and what those goals are. And the question became much more, profound in the terms of serving the audience and the business and what those goals should be. And I realize not everything, well, I shouldn't say that. Everything is about serving the user, but it is about building your business. And so we want to make sure that we serve the best goals for both. For instance, you might find through the research there, Jen, that hey, we have found some great keywords that we could be ranked for fairly easily, and they drive to some product sales. Okay, well, talking to the operations and the product people, it turns out that, thinking about the 80-20 rules of business, right, it's actually the less ROI-based contributor to our bottom line. So is that the right keywords to use? No, I don't think so. Let's focus on something else, right? So you can see how this really gets kind of extensive in because it's such a brilliant question. You're smart, right? You're asking great questions. Here's another one. Actually, it's the same person. Hey, this is great. Can you estimate a winner? 10, 50, 100, 500, 2,000. Would it be more for B2B and B2C? Yeah, that has to be researched. There is no number that says, well, 60% should be B2B versus 40% B2C. Think about Amazon. Wow, that is a B2C. They have B2B flavors in terms of their enterprise, but that would just be tens of thousands, right? But I know that if somebody at the SEO agency side wanted to sort of establish a metric for a client, which I'm starting to see and kind of sense that this is where it's going, I would say, hey, based on the research, we're going to start with these 5 keywords. We're going to start with these 10. And then match that into an SEO plan over time, 6, 12, 18 months, etc. So I would start with 10 in that kind of discussion, and then really do that research based on where do you want to be with those keywords, what those goals are being served, and then how the growth is going to happen through the various marketing channels and plans. But man, that's a great question. Hit a 1. Send me a 1 here, Jen, and anybody else, if that all made sense. Can you hit a 1? Give me a 1 there. All right, thank you, awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, love it. Hey, Mr. Henry, great, thank you. Hey, Candy. Okay, so, man, we got 53% still on here. Nice, you guys are rock stars. This is Friday, and it's before the long holiday here in the U.S. I'm sitting in a hot L.A. here today. Gosh, it is hot. Santa Ana winds, man. Love it, hate it. Alrighty, so any more questions? Let's see it. That's what my trainer says, man. I'm going to hit the CrossFit today a little bit later, and he just yells at us. Let's see it, man. My favorite not expression, because it really psychologically messes with me. But that is not SEO. We are still on the SEO subject. So again, option 1 there, if you want to jump on, first 5 there, just a $97 deposit, immediately refunded. Or if you want to do option 2, still all send to support@chaosmap.com, and we'll provide a link there. And hey, this is all about seeing how and if we can help. And if this was all good, then great, because guess what? We're going to be doing this again, it looks like next Friday as well. And we're going to talk about link building and outreach and really how you can take, because many of you may have some great content already, and going through and rewriting and spending all this time may not have well, we'll have the time factor, but not the effect that you're hoping for, perhaps, so that you want to make sure you can do some promotional strategies that will help you lift that content. I've been there. I know the frustration, and get questions about that quite a bit. So I'm just going to take a quick sip of water here as I check through. Any more questions? Don't be shy. Let's see. We're coming up on a close here. But yeah, we've been on for a good 55, man. 55 minutes, boys and girls. Well, you know, I have to say that I'm just fired up about this. I am excited about this field that I work in, and you know, I'll be doing this when I'm 90, right? I'll just be this weird guy in the corner, just barely moving his hands, and rocking campaigns. And I hope you're excited too. I hope you're excited about this here today, and I hope to see you again soon. If there's no further questions, take a look at the various options, and then you know, submit to that. And if not, we'll see you on the next one. But hey, yeah, thanks to you, John. Thanks to you, Jen. Thanks to Candy. Gosh, thanks to Thomas here. Thanks Nils. Thanks Brandon. Thanks Kathy, Angela, Fernando, and man, it's hard to read through these tiny little screen grabs here, or as a little navigational thing. But anyway, you're still here. I guess nothing more to see here, as they would say. I'm out of here. I'm just going to leave this screen up for just another minute, but I'm going to go offline, as in no volume, and we're going to get through it. Oh, hey, one final question here. Great point. Skype name, J-R-O-G-N-E-R-U-D. So that's my name, J-R-O-G-N-E-R-U-D. So that's first name, first initial rather, J, and my last name, R-O-G-N-E-R-U-D. So we can connect there. But before we do, I'm going to have you fill out a quick form, and we'll do all that. But anyway, you can just bookmark that. So thank you. Great webinar. I am off. I'm going to leave this open, but I'm going to go and grab some more water here. Boy, it's dry here today. All right. Thank you all. Have a great long weekend, and rock on. Later.